especially with like the tips.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bokeh Podcast, episode 1.
Thank you for tuning in. If you're not here accidentally, that's pretty tight.
Oh, okay. I need to. Ooh, my eyes are everywhere.
Yeah, I know. It's like
still need to get used to that. I'm looking at that, but I need to look right there, right in the eye.
But it's episode 1, so we're still kind of ironing out the kinks. But this is a podcast that is about everything related to photography, filmmaking, all the related industries around those two things, and how this, anything that we talk about or anything that's discussed can actually benefit you in your business or your career. So we'd like to shout out Carol's Books for hosting the podcast. They've been very gracious about letting us hold this here.
Beautiful books.
Lots of really good books. As soon as I learn how to read, I will be reading lots of these books.
I'm not a reader, but I like pictures.
Hence the filmmaking and photography.
Yeah.
Right? So today we're talking about origin stories like Wolverine.
Yeah.
And
it was 1983. Ted was a squirming little fetus.
I wasn't actually, because I wasn't a fetus until 87.
It was 1986.
That's when I was a fetus.
All right. But what does bokeh mean? Or
so
bokeh?
Bokeh or so it's a Japanese word. It's actually pronounced bokeh.
Bokeh.
But
bokeh.
I feel weird saying it like bokeh the right way because I'm American.
Oh, yeah.
We got to do it our way.
You just bastardize everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's called bokeh. That's how we call it. That's what we call it now. And it's basically bokeh is those little round balls that are like bright items that are out of focus in a photograph.
Oh, okay.
When people want that like creamy background and a lot of stuff out of focus, they want like that bokeh.
Oh, so like the Japanese, when they take pictures or film, they're like, okay.
Yeah, they just take blurry pictures, and so that's why they called it bokeh. That's their style.
Wow.
And then Americans copied them, and now hipsters, which is its own nationality, has now taken on that style, and it's quite prevalent.
All I see on Instagram is goddamn.
Yeah.
Just blurred out of focus pictures.
That's right.
And just so
with like maybe like your eyebrow hair might be in focus, and the rest of the picture not in focus. That's cool now. It's really cool now. So
it's all good.
Yeah, that's bokeh. And so the reason why I called it bokeh is because I'd like to bring clarity to some of the things in the industry, in the business, and whatnot, and the craft and creativity involved in making films and photographs and whatnot.
So it's poetic.
Yeah, trying hard to be. Maybe it's not so poetic now that you know the origin.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great to know. I didn't know. I thought bokeh was like I don't know, because you come from like a Haitian, Indian kind of like family setting, Filipino setting. Filipinos, man. But I thought it was gonna be like
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
But that was like totally
has nothing to do with me at all.
That's great. Where'd you get it from?
It's just the word that you learn when you watch like lots of YouTube tutorials about photography and filmmaking, and they could just call like the bokeh balls or look at the amazing bokeh on the lens and or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's kind of where it's from. That's how I learned it anyway.
Oh, so I need to watch more. So I really haven't been watching enough YouTube videos to try to get into this thing. You gotta build up your learn terminology like that.
Yeah. So Lucio has been embarking on, the film and photography craft and getting his feet wet and getting really immersed into doing a lot of work. He's been working with me on a lot of shoots, and I've been doing my thing for like 7 years now, something like that. And so we figured having a perspective of somebody who's not, all nerded out like I am on this stuff, and then plus having the nerd here to kind of explain some things.
And also wanting to be a nerd. I feel like a grasshopper.
Young grasshopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. never go against the master though. That's how you get
All right.
the leg shot though.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Origin story time.
Snap! Origin story time. Oh.
From the beginning. It was 1986.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go back that far. That's a lot of ground to cover.
Okay.
Well, we are gonna go into how I got into filmmaking and photography, and basically, I was actually managing a videographer and photographer. You know him very well.
Yes.
And
history.
History. You know, and he actually shot a few commercials for. I used to be in the medical marijuana industry, and he shot some commercials for the business me and my partners had, and he was pretty good. And then I had other friend who was working with a pretty well-known record label out in the Bay Area, and he was working with some of their newest artists. And so he told me that he needed video work, like a lot of it, and you know, that the money would be kind of slow going forward, but there'd be a ton of recognition and a ton of access to other artists who we could charge full price for. And so I saw it, me being my entrepreneurial self, I saw it as a business opportunity. And I was trying to transition out of the medical marijuana industry at the time. And, you know, the videographer we were working with, he was still living at home and stuff like that. And I just offered him a spot in my house. And I said, look, I'll cover all the expenses and whatnot, and I'll get you all the connections or whatever. You just got to do the work. So they looked at some of his previous work. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad. Mm-hmm. And they decided that he would be good enough for him to represent all their imagery, you know, as they go forward, on making music videos and behind the scenes stuff and photographs and all that kind of stuff. So it was going good for a little bit. It was pretty good. It was all right. Things were rolling. But we quickly realized that this particular filmmaker could not let go of the project. He had to have, you know, his hands choking the project all the time. So even if the artist or the label wanted to make some changes to the video or the photographs or whatever, he was just really stiff and hard-headed and would not listen.
Just like no room to compromise.
Yeah, nothing like that. And, you know, he didn't have a good understanding of the kind of relationship this was. You know, like, you're not making your music videos, you're making somebody else's music videos, but it's your way. You know what I mean? And, you know, the kind of guys that he was making music videos for, they didn't like wasting time and resources repeatedly because of how somebody felt, you know, just because you feel a certain way about whatever. And I was very frustrated as well because I'm trying to communicate, you know, what kind of relationship this was and how everything was, you know, rolling out and how to view this thing so that we can, you know, kind of get past these first stages and make it into the later portion of the business that we're starting, right? And that way, you know, money's coming in and things are getting better, and now we just got to work our system until things are very consistent, you know, just like any business.
Yeah.
So,
but he wanted to be Tarantino before he was
exactly,
Tarantino. Exactly.
He wanted to be Tarantino before he was Tarantino, though. And he was not no Tarantino either. But I had babysat him on enough shoots. I had babysat him on enough editing, like projects or whatever, to where I said, you know, I could do this thing, and I enjoyed it too. Like it was fun to do.
Yeah.
So eventually that relationship dissolved. The relationship with my friend and the record label dissolved. And it just, you know, everything just kind of fizzled out. And I had a friend of mine. So after the relationship with me and the videographer dissolved, he actually went to go work with a friend of mine at Timeless Studios named Lou. And shout out to Lou, by the way. And he was working with Lou, and then Lou ran into the same exact problems. And so he gave me a call because he knew that we were working together before. Yeah. And we were talking about it. And then, you know, after our conversation, I let him know, you know, hey, I've got a computer that I can edit with. I just don't have a camera. It's the only thing I don't got. But you know, if I could show you some of the stuff I've edited up, and you can use that as judgment for whether or not I could do the work. And so I showed him a few videos, and he said, yeah, that's tight. You know, I can get you a camera. I got a friend of mine named Eric. Shout out to Eric, man. Appreciate that guy. He let me use his camera for a long time, for a good chunk of time, while me and Lou were, you know, just working together, getting this thing going. And he was kind of seeing how I work and whatnot. And then there was my first gig was through Lou at Timeless Studios. It was with Tony Dorsey. He's a Christian rapper. And I got paid $350 for my first gig, and wow, I was in there like swimwear. And then, you know, as I kept going, I mean, eventually I got my own camera. I was able to give Eric back his, and you know, I just kept progressing, just kept learning, kept doing stuff, kept learning, kept doing stuff, and
just provided value up front at the gate. Bam.
Yeah, that's the key. And you know, you can going to a studio, finding a recording studio that has artists that are already coming there.
Yeah.
And telling them that you're willing to work, you know, maybe at a discount or whatever, just to get the ball rolling and get some work up under you, you know, that a nice portfolio that you can show off. That's really the foundation for building a good career. You know, there's like some I guess you could call them, I don't know if they're like thought leaders in the industry, but there are some people out there who are selling like these courses about how you don't need a portfolio, you don't need, you know, you don't need to show anybody what kind of work you could do, and you can sell people on video work and at very high ticket amounts, you know, and still get the work and stuff.
Oh, that just sounds sideways to me, you know, just off the top, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. I get a lot of clients from people who like went to somebody else to get video work done, and they were very unhappy with the kind of work they got done. You know what I mean? And that's why they call me. And so I could, and you know, the person had sold them all kinds of stuff. Some of the videos that they showed weren't really theirs. You know what I mean? Like they didn't really do much on it, but they showed it as an example and whatnot.
I mean, I guess I could recall a few times where you called me in because, like, you know, when your clients like realize, you know, how bad it is, whatever like situation it is with, you know, their current like photographer or videographer, you're the guy, you know. And
I mean, I try to be.
Yeah, you know, it gets to that point where like people hit you, and then you know, like you know, if you know you can make it better.
Yeah,
you know,
I know I could do better than what they, you know,
even
deliver.
if I mean, you could say no, but you know, you always try to find a way.
I try to say yes, man. Yeah. That's the other thing is like when you're starting out, or even when you're, you know, when you're pretty seasoned, just try to say yes as much as possible. Don't try to say no. And you know, unless it's like a project that really does not benefit you at all. You know, you try to find a way to work with somebody's budget, or to maybe like shrink the scope of the project to fit something that would be reasonable enough for you to go out and do, you know. But that's like, but you have to do work. If you're starting out, if you're just getting going, you got to do some work, man. It's not going to, you're not going to go anywhere without putting that work in and building that kind of that portfolio.
Yeah, that just sounds so like preposterous to me that, you know, these people are putting out like and these are paid courses.
Dude, these are paid courses, number one. Number two, he's talking about closing people for like 20 and 30 grand.
Wow.
On a project. Maybe there's a science, I don't know. Maybe there's like a way to do this that is just foreign to me. I just don't, I'm unaware. You know, I don't know what I don't know. But if you're telling just anybody out there to do that they can do that kind of thing, you're kind of, you're messing up. If you ask me anyway.
I don't even like the word sell in the first place. You know? Like, yeah, it's just one of those things I despise. So when I see that, you know, and then, you know, you find out like, oh, you just like, I get it. Like people want to like take that shortcut.
Yeah,
you know,
they do.
you're not gonna get the best value out of a shortcut. You know?
No, you're not. And if you're looking at video clients or photography clients as a way for you to, you know, look, you should take the money you make from doing that work to purchase new equipment, upgrade equipment, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? Even buy courses that actually teach you something, like teach you some real valuable stuff, improve your craft and your creativity, or the technical proficiency that helps you to express yourself creatively. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. But if you're trying to juice your client because you might need to cover an expense,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or you need to make a certain amount of money or whatever. That's not the way to go about this. That's the quickest way to,
I don't like that,
you know,
at
piss
all.
people off and really, you know, cut your nose off to spite your face. You know.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is, if you're not at the level that you need to be to deliver, people are just not going to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of unhappy customers, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think reputation is 100% important. So important.
It's so important, and
So
you got to be
important,
you have to be interested in solving that person's problem or that organization's problem.
Yeah.
By creating, you know, imagery that communicates the message that they need to communicate.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. And then that by itself, not having to do, you know, it has nothing to do with like how much money you need to make per se. It all has to do with what it takes to get the job done. You know, I'm not saying don't charge your rate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, don't try to inflate the costs of production just because. Don't try to do that. It's not the business. You know.
Yeah, everyone's always asking, like, especially when it comes to providing services, everyone always asks more than what they can provide up front, instead of just providing themselves up front, like how you did.
Yeah.
From the start. We have like a question, like
a list,
and like Teddy knocked out like a good quarter of these already, and I didn't even have to kind of,
dude, we could go in,
prompt him into it.
You could, we could still talk about them and go in depth into them, you know.
But yeah, that's crazy. Like your first client, that was Lou, right? Or just working with
Well,
Lou.
yeah, Lou was like the gateway to, I mean, not just even my first clients, but also me being able to do this at all. You know what I mean? If I didn't go to Lou and he didn't even open his mind up to see the kind of potential I could have, and then extend himself to one of his friends to try to get me a camera to work with, you know what I mean? Yeah. Probably wouldn't be no Caravan Film Crews right now, or there'd be like another crazy way that I'd have to do it in order to get there. But yeah, Lou was the dude. And so Tony Dorsey was my first client, but it was really Lou's client, but it was the first paid gig that I worked with him on, you know?
Yeah. So when you actually got the money for that gig, you were all in after that.
Yeah. Well, you know, if I can get a gig without a camera, without any previous work, you know what I mean? It's easy. It's you know, it's all downhill from here.
Was there any, I guess in the meantime, was there anything like you were kind of like, I guess in terms of career path, did you see yourself possibly going another way?
I don't have any, so filmmaking and photography as a trade is my passion, right? And it's not the only thing I'm passionate about, but it's my thing. You know what I mean? So I kind of went 100% into that when I decided that was going to be it. And I didn't have any, not that I didn't want to do anything else, but I was tunnel vision. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just wanted to get a good grip on this before I did anything else. And, but I mean, I want to do real estate, cryptocurrencies, like we always talk about, and all that. There's a ton of businesses I'd like to open. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff I want to do, but I'll never stop doing film and photography. At least I don't think anyway, right now. Never stop.
Yeah, I mean, shit, how long has it been now? And then you coming so far, like, I mean, shit, when did we first meet? Like 2010?
Man, Yeah, was it
2011?
2010? Maybe it was 11.
And it wasn't like
was
much
11.
longer after that. It was probably, like probably around like 2 or 3 years before you picked it up like the way you did, and then
Yeah.
you just went right.
Yeah. It was like a 2-3 year period, and then
Yeah.
boom, I was there. I was in there. You know.
All right. When you started, what kind of equipment like did you have?
Oh man. Okay, so the first camera that I used was a D3100, which is like not knocking anybody who's shooting with a D3100. I used to shoot with that, but it's like a very entry level, prosumer, actually consumer camera.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, maybe it shot like 18 megapixels or something like that, but it did 24 frames per second at 1080, and that's all we needed at the time.
Yeah.
I just needed a camera that could do that. I did not know how to shoot manual. I shot everything in auto, so sometimes the exposure would get all wonky.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was autofocus at the time. There's a difference between autofocus and, manual focus. And so sometimes it would be out of focus a little bit.
Yeah.
But, in the edit, I would shoot a ton of footage. And then in the edit, I would just pick the best stuff and line it up. So, I could hide my my novice, camera operating skills pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, in any case, as long as the frame is there.
Yeah, as long as it's composed pretty good.
No matter what camera it is,
yeah,
if it's in position, you could make it work.
And look, so I went from that to a D. I had a D3200 for a little bit, but I borrowed it from somebody else, and then I got a D7000, which is like considerably better in terms of image quality, but it was still a crop sensor. Then I got a 7D Canon, and so I've had Nikon, Canon, Panasonic, which we're filming on right now, which I film the majority of my video stuff on, and I got a Sony A7R II now that I do most of my photography with. It's full frame, 42 megapixels and whatnot. But no matter what you got, there is a way for you to use it to make some money so that you can improve and get more gear and get better gear and whatnot. So it's not really about the gear, especially in the beginning, because it doesn't, if you don't know how to use your equipment, even if you sold a $10,000 gig and you got, you're shooting with 1DXs and all that, or you're shooting with Reds, even if you don't know what you're doing, like the camera's not going to figure it out for you. If you don't know the fundamentals of the relationship between ISO, shutter, aperture, or inverse square law, or how to shape light, or blocking subjects and whatnot. Like if you don't know all that stuff, then the camera's not going to figure it out for you.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work it for you the way it needs to. And so if you're just starting out, just start out and work with the lowest level you can work with. Yeah. And just work your way up. Film and photography, this field is so deep and vast, and it's ever expanding. And I doubt anyone can truly fathom all of it. And so by going through the motions and running through those steps and taking very small incremental improvements on your craft, on your gear and whatnot, and how you interact with people too, that's a whole nother thing.
Right. I got a question for that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No.
Oh well, I was gonna say, just move in that direction very slowly. Start small and grow like everything else in the universe, and eventually you'll be where you want to be. And you'll be ready to be there too. And then when you go try to sell those kinds of gigs, you'll be very confident that you can deliver what they're expecting. And that's a lot of the sale is that you making sure that the client is comfortable that you're the person to deliver what they need.
Wow. Well, you pretty much move right into that. I guess, I guess from I don't know, I guess like.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever you got, whatever question it is. Doesn't have to be on that list.
Well, like how it says here, to begin like approaching how do you develop that relationship with someone that that's looking for someone to do work with them?
Yeah.
How do you get that? How do you get that started and get that project going and seeing how they're about and if you guys work together?
Yeah. Okay. So, the first thing, the main thing that you need to have before you start approaching clients is you have to have a genuine concern for them and the kind of project that they're embarking on.
Yeah.
You have to know why they're doing it, and then you have to be honest with yourself. Like if somebody if somebody told me back when I first started, if somebody was like, Teddy, I got 6,000 for a wedding video, I would be like, as much as I'd want that $6,000, I'd have to be upfront. I'd have to tell them like, look, for 6,000, you guys can get a really awesome wedding video, but I can't deliver that for you. You know what I mean? And you got to be honest about yourself, your skill level, where you're at, and honestly, people are going to value you as a person so much. Shit. Yeah, dude. Don't sell anything, man.
Yeah.
But they're gonna value you as a person so much that later on, when you are up to par, or even when somebody that they know maybe doesn't have the kind of budget that they have, they're gonna refer you. They're always gonna hit you up, for advice or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're always gonna keep you in the loop, and that's valuable for when you do have that skill set that they were looking for, that people who they know are looking for. But first, you start off with having a genuine concern, figuring out what exactly they need, and once you have that nailed down, you have a clear vision of that, all you have to do is let them know whether you could do it or not. I can do it, but I could do it, but I may need to bring in like a sound engineer. There's some gigs where I gotta bring in like Lou or somebody, to do sound at that gig, because that's not me. Yeah. Number one, even if it was me, I'm working the cameras, you know what I mean? Or I'm doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't need to do that.
I mean, as someone who's looking, if I wanted to find someone with, your services, that's exactly what I want to see. If you don't know the fact that you have the resources, to be able to reach out and find the people who specialize, in those fields, that way you can bring the best product forward.
Exactly. And that's why a client would reach out to anybody anyway. They want to stop looking. You know what I mean? They don't want to look anymore. I mean, some clients are like really shopping around all the time, like for prices or whatever. But most of the time, clients are not wanting to try to figure out who's the best, who can do this, and they want to talk to somebody who they can trust, who is knowledgeable, who knows what they need done, and can point them in the direction or incorporate whoever can deliver that final product, because all we care about is the final product. That's it. We don't care about anything else, And so, all right, so from there, and you communicate it properly that you can do it, you understand what, what they need. Now we talk price. Mm-hmm. Well, to do this, it's going to cost this.
Yeah.
Right. They may need a Z project done and they only got Y money. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Yeah. You can decide if you want to maybe give them a discount or shrink the scope of the project in order to meet that budget limitation or whatever. Or you might tell them, well, look, you can't do that right now.
Yeah.
And if you try to do Z with Y budget, it's not going to come out right. You know what I mean? So you might as well just wait until you have the Z budget to go do the Z project, If I'm explaining that correctly, excuse me.
No, I think I understand that, just being able, as the person who, knows like the value of their services, being able to discern, the best outcome for both of you.
Yeah. Being able to discern the best outcome for both of us, and how we can, how we can bridge the gap that may be there too. What kind of problems can we solve in order to do so? And that's once you've established all that other stuff, that's the name of the game. And if they don't have or you can ask about budget up front. And I like to do that with clients who, Based on the kind of language they use and the conversation we're having, it sounds like, they're probably not close to my full rate. And I try to ask them, well, what's your budget? And we start there. And then I kind of hear what they want done. And if I can get it done at a level that's satisfactory to their expectations, but may involve somebody else, not me. You know what I mean? Maybe involves somebody on my team, or it's me, but it's half a day, or a certain amount of hours or whatever. Then we can make that work. So you can ask about budget anytime, but you have to know why you're asking about the budget.
Yeah, honestly, clients, I think it's just better to just put that budget out front. That way,
dude.
That way, you guys, that do the
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
Just kidding, because when you brought that up, all I could think of is shysters.
Shysters,
just all everywhere.
All right, look, check this out. So you're absolutely right. Yeah. This was absolutely right. If you're dealing with somebody who you can trust already, like if you're a client and you're looking to pick up some services, and you're talking to a service provider who you could trust. Just tell them the budget up front. If you know already that you don't want to spend more than $1,500 on whatever kind of project it is, just let them know, look, I got $1,500 and I'm trying to get this done. What a lot of clients will do to me is ask me what my prices are. I'll tell you my prices. I promise you they're going to be higher than what you expect to pay. You know what I mean? I guarantee it, 100%. Because almost everybody has like some kind of sticker shock when it comes to me, like divulging what I charge and stuff like that. So, if you know that you don't have a penny more, or you don't want to spend a penny more than a certain budget, just let them know up front. Look, this is what I need, and this is how much I got. What can you do? And you know what? Like, there's been maybe 4 or 5 gigs this year where I'm doing a gig at a discounted rate because I just don't have anything booked. You know what I mean? And I could have deployed somebody else to do it. Yeah. But I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Let me just go do it.
I like that you can do that too, is to, like camera people and photography people and videography people and editor people, they know each other.
Yeah.
It's like in the
we all know each other.
John Wick movie where all the assassins, they're all like from different walks of life, different places. That's the network.
Yeah, that really is.
So
it's like that. If you
can't fit someone's budget, if you have someone good like Ted, he'll be able to point you to someone that could provide that for you, whether he can't make, if he can't make the time, or if your budget is in this different range, he's still going to look for that talent that's going to be able to deliver for you.
Yeah. Case in point, Jesse Delgado of SL Media, there was a wedding that he booked. It was earlier this year, and he asked me to come and help him out with the shoot, and we help each other on shoots all the time. I mean, we're always working with each other. I just did a photo shoot with him last week, right? But he just asked me to come along and help him, and I went there, and it was like maybe right before the ceremony. And we had been shooting already for like 2-3 hours with the bride and whatnot. But right before the ceremony, I realized like, oh, this is the same bride I quoted, you know what I mean? Like 2 weeks ago, or like 2 months ago, you know what I mean? And I asked him her last name, and he was like, oh yeah, that's her. And it was cool that even though I didn't get the gig, he got the gig, and then he still brought me on to do it. You know what I mean? Boom. Because we really have like a good network of folks that we know. I mean, chances are if you reached out to somebody, it's probably somebody I know. If you're getting prices and whatnot, probably know those folks. I can know the quality of work that they do and whatnot. And we talk all the time. And we talk about you guys.
Bam.
So you better be on your best behavior.
A rising tide raises all ships.
Mm-hmm. The other thing, just before we move off from like clients and pricing, another thing clients have to realize is that there's like a Venn diagram of fast, good, and cheap. Yeah. Okay. So if you want you can only pick 2 of those things, of those 3. Fast, good, cheap. You can only pick 2. So if it's fast and good, it's not going to be cheap. If it's fast and cheap, it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? If it's cheap and good,
it's going
to take a while. You know what I mean? And so that's the kind of things, you want to keep in mind and this goes for photography, video, I mean, contracting, you know, whatever it is. You got to just remember that you can't have it all. It's not right.
Yeah.
Film and photography, it takes a tremendous amount
Yeah.
of work, not only on the day of delivering, you know, recording the product that you need to edit later, but then the editing process is like way beyond what a lot of people have, you know, expect about it.
Yeah.
And it's way more intense and intricate and tedious than
shout outs to editors, by the way.
Shout outs to editors.
You guys are the real
straight
troopers.
up. Yeah, man.
You know, like how, you know, like, yeah, editors and coders and people who really do go through each and every, you know, frame and tedious letter, like to the pixel dot of each letter.
Straight up. Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot of work. And so to ask somebody to discount their prices, you know, or to accommodate your need of all three without having all three money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like, you know, just expect it to take longer than expected, or expect some, you know, mistakes or whatever. It's just how this thing goes, you know?
Yep. If you don't have it all, you can't have it all.
Mm-hmm. For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch it up then. Let's switch it up.
Ooh, this one.
There.
Where do you see the industry going? And I feel like that's so big, but you know, you being, you know, in that, you know, in it all day, all the time.
All the time,
what,
man.
What do you see? What do you like in terms of trends and, you know, just the way what's becoming, you know, I don't know. Go ahead.
I feel you, man. All right, so
I mean, you know, like if I were to just try to, you could take pictures of food. You know, I mean, you know, like we talk about like modeling and stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, a man or a female. It could be, you know, pictures, different items.
Yeah, it can be
know,
like
whatever,
photography,
you know, whatever the definition and you can use for model.
So there's like a lot of different industries.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single industry is related to video and photography.
Yeah.
I cannot communicate, you know, what something is nowadays.
No better way.
There's no better way to do it without video and photography, right? So, so to know where we're going, you got to see where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And right now we're in the pocket for, you know, I don't want to call them amateur, but it's like, you know, prosumer camera operators, you know, and right now a lot of people are hiring prosumer camera operators. For example, there's gigs I've lost because, you know, one, I'm charging a lot, and their nephew who's in 10th grade, you know, can do video on his camera. He's got a nice camera, so you can do video, right? There's a lot of that out there, and that's okay. You guys can go and do that.
Yeah. If you want to be a wannabe try hard, that just put a filter over something that someone else used on a video. You know, go ahead.
So that's okay. You can do that, and you can get your little nephew, you know, baby Bobby to, you know, to shoot it and stuff like that. That's fine. But that's happening a lot, and you know, when you have a lot of entry level, you know, people are just kind of getting their feet wet, or, you know, maybe been doing this for like a year, 2 years. When you get a lot of those videographers and photographers in a space, especially because of Instagram, you get a lot of the same looking stuff. A lot of it looks the same. And then on top of that, you know, there's not enough experience in delivering a final product to let them know what they need beforehand to get it all. You know?
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys don't have a lot of audio equipment, don't have a lot of lighting, don't have a lot of stabilizers, you know what I mean? Don't have multicam set up or whatever. And you, who is a client, you know what I mean? You're not necessarily knowing what kind of questions to ask to see if your nephew was actually qualified to do what you need done. You know, and a lot of clients' heads, they're like, yeah, just turn on the camera. It's a nice camera, so it's got everything I need all in it.
There's a process.
Yeah.
And the best process comes from the people who have failed and been through it all. You know?
That's me.
Yeah.
I've done that plenty of times. And so that's where we're at right now, where there's a lot of prosumer stuff. A lot of this stuff looks the same. And that can work right now because even though a lot of us in the industry call it oversaturated, like we say that you know, the industry is oversaturated with everything, with all these like kind of you know, photographers and videographers. There's still a whole lot more video work left to get picked up. You know what I mean? There's a lot more clients that are coming on board every day, realizing, you know what, I need to get some video done, or some photography, some pro stuff done. And they're getting tired of their nephew's stuff or niece's stuff, you know? And so with that, we're going to have people who either just need some video done very cheaply, just need to get it done. However, they got a small budget. They're not really caring about quality. They just need to cover it. Or you're going to get people who are looking for some high-end production that's going to separate themselves from their competition, make them stand out, draw in new customers, and all that kind of stuff.
That's where you got to be anyway, on that side.
You should be on that side.
Just because the tech has gotten better doesn't mean the skill level has gotten better.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Like, I mean, but you could make the most out of this.
Yeah.
You know, you can't.
Oh, every day, this is the tool for every day.
Yeah.
But when you need to run a campaign, you need to run a campaign.
Real.
You know? Yeah.
You know, like I was watching my dad, he's looking for, you know, these, it's called like a Sprinter van, where it's like an RV, but like, you know, very micro, very, you know, very, you know, still with enough space and stuff. And the way he was looking through, we were watching YouTube videos, and then all, you know, it's just you know, an old couple, you know, they go to RV conventions, and the way that they're filming, I could have sworn, you know, I was like, you know, you probably got a decent gimbal, you know, with some kind of, you know, a DSLR camera, you know, and then you know, they turn to the mirror, and it's the phone.
It's a phone
on a gimbal, looking, you know, and it's looking good, and the, you know, the audio quality is at least, you know, decent. And this is a video with like a couple 100,000 views.
Yeah,
and they're just going to conventions, reviewing stuff, you know. So just making the most value out of your buck.
Yeah,
you know.
Look, if this is all you got, you know, you can invest in this and get it at least, you know, somewhere up to par with your niece and nephew's, you know, video capabilities. And that way you don't have to spend money on them. You can just do it yourself. Probably would get done on time, or the way you wanted it, you know, all that kind of stuff. And when I teach, like I did a social media class for elders in business, and I was telling them, you know, that they really need to get comfortable being in front of this.
Yeah,
every day.
It's standard now.
It's standard. You got to have it, you know. But when you want to run an ad that is eye-catching, that communicates the message properly, or you want a homepage video that when people go to your website and the first thing they see is a video, like that kind of stuff needs to look really good.
Yeah, do it right.
Yeah, to give your business or your organization or yourself, you know, an air of professionalism. Yeah. And, you know, just like some credibility through production, which is totally possible. That happens all the time. But yeah, that's how that goes. And that's where the industry is heading, where you're going to have the two spectrums, and people are just going to pick one for whatever purpose that they need.
Straight up. All right, I guess, okay, let's get into this then.
Yeah.
How important is the money? When I think about that question, I was kind of thinking along the lines of, you know, like from where you started to where you are now, and to work and scaling up. Like, how does that look like? You know, because I'll be looking up on Instagram videos, and they'll do behind the scenes, and, you know, you have some of these production sets with huge lights. Yeah. Like huge spotlights. Yeah. You know, and just, how do you get on that level? Like, I'm watching this, you know, someone recorded this Ariana Grande video, you know, from their backyard, and they have just this huge, you know, this huge, like, equipment that we have now.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the tenfold version of that.
I know.
You know, and just having, you know, the thought that it gets even bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know, that how a lot of these, like, Marvel movies and, you know, all these production companies have these huge green screen warehouses, huge green screen, like, fields, you know.
Straight up.
Like, yo, literally. How does that look?
Literally.
Like, with, you know, with the dollar figure.
So, you know, when they talk about how a movie costs, like Black Panther, cost $220 million to make, and then when you go through the credits,
Yeah.
There's like 20,000 people on the credits.
That's the sad part is nobody stays for the credits, yo.
Yeah, and nobody stays for the credits.
Oh man, that's why I love Jackie Chan movies.
Why?
She had a reason to, Jackie Chan always play bloopers or
through the credits,
behind the scenes,
true.
stuff like that, just showing how everyone participated in the film. And I feel like we need that,
dude. I am so like I'm definitely in the same train of thought as you in that regard.
But anyway,
Well, speaking on that though, you have to remember that filmmaking and photography is highly collaborative.
Yeah.
I can't do what I do without models or brides or corporate people or whatever. You know what I mean? There's no way I could be expressing what I express, how I express it without all of those people. And then even like let's say at if it's a corporate event, there's like an AV crew that maybe set up everything. That did the lighting for the stage.
Yeah.
That did the what do you call it, LCD panel behind them or whatever. That figured out where they're gonna put the projectors and all that. At a wedding, there's a coordinator, there's a decorator. There's people who like completely poured into everything that was going on there, right? And a lot of times people will look at a video I make and just kind of give me props on how good it came out, even though everything looked really good in when I was there. Like when I got there, it was already looking good. I didn't have to do anything there.
Yeah.
And same thing with film and theatrical film or anything else, man. Models, it's incredibly collaborative. There are a lot of hands that go into molding and mixing all these ingredients together to get that final product. And yeah, man, I try to give everybody props on all the stuff that we do out, and that's why it's not Teddy's filmmaking business. It's Caravan Film Crews, because a caravan is a small company on a journey, or a group of companies on a journey. You know what I mean? And so that's what I understood about how to do all this, and that's why I try to keep my perspective and understanding that I'm betting on people to do the job that I need done. Because it is a very, very collaborative thing.
Hell yeah.
But what were we talking about? Scaling? Oh, is the money important? How important is the money in terms of scaling up, right? Yeah. Well, in terms of scaling up your production, you have to earn the trust of people, right? So if I'm doing $1,000 gigs, I gotta earn, and I want to sell $2,000 gigs. I gotta earn the trust of somebody, who thinks I could do a $2,000 gig, or I might have to earn the trust of somebody who does a $1,500 gig. That way, the $2,000 gig person is like, yeah, I think they could do it. Yeah. And then you kind of just go up from there. That's how I know it. I don't know about selling like 30K packages out the gate. I don't know about all that. But being able to show your work at that level is going to be the prerequisite for people to hire you. It's not like being an accountant or anything like that, an engineer, where you can write a resume of your certification and whatnot. This is not that kind of business. In this business, they want to see what you've done. I never went to film school or anything like that. Not even close to anything related to that when I was in school. I went to school for accounting, and I use it a little bit. But with filmmaking, they just want to see what your projects were like. What have you done? Can you do it again? And that kind of thing. And so when you're starting out and you want to scale your business up, you need to, even though somebody might just pay you $100 for a job, you need to make that $100 job look like a $500 job.
Yep.
And then you do like 2-3 of those $100 jobs that look like $500, and then you start charging $500
every time.
Yeah.
Without choking the
project out. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Everything's lovely.
Good.
How's it going?
Going good.
You're coming.
Oh man, going great.
They make you two dance on tables
now. So and then $500 gigs turn in, make them look like $1,000 or $1,500 gigs or whatever. So it doesn't matter what somebody's paying you. What matters is the kind of work you can deliver. I've talk to a lot of videographers and photographers, and we'll talk about a client, and they'll say, the client only had XYZ, so I only did ABC. You know what I mean? And that's cool, and I understand where they're coming from, especially if the client is maybe not so polite and not very cool to work with. I understand, I get it.
Yeah.
But for me, even if I was going to do a free project, which I do periodically, I'm going to do it at a level where I'd be proud to show a $10,000 client, like, hey, this is what I do. You know what I mean? And that way, it's still a benefit for me. The person who got it for free is super grateful because it looks like they spent some money even though they didn't spend any.
Make it something to remember,
Yeah, because you're only going to be as good as the last thing you did.
Yep.
But yeah, so from there, if you're scaling up like that, if you're taking the money and you're not buying clothes and cars and whatever with it, if you're taking that money and you're reinvesting it back into your business, buying new equipment, upgrading equipment, adding tools to your repertoire, paying for classes for you to learn stuff, marketing your business and whatnot. If you're taking that and whatever profits you do get and reinvesting in it, you're going to be scaling up not only the work you do, but the type of work you do, the quality you deliver, and then that's the never-ending game.
Yeah.
Right now, and I was just talking with Jesse about this. I'd like to pick up a Red, and I'm thinking about what kind of Red to pick up. But when you buy a Red, it's not just the Red camera. It's lenses, lens mounts. It's new stabilizers. It's, you know what I mean. It's it's storage capacities and whatnot. All kinds of stuff come with that. So it gets really pricey. Mm-hmm. But you can cash in, and now you've considerably stepped up the kind of image quality you deliver. As long as you have lighting, audio, all this other stuff figured out, right? Now you've really added some value to your production. But I wouldn't even 2 years ago. I wouldn't even think about picking one up. I would think it was a nice thought, but it wouldn't be something I'd actually be in the market for because I understand that I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Like 2 years ago, I wouldn't even know what to do with that.
So everything in due time.
Everything in due time. Take it easy.
Just do the best you can every time.
All the time. Yeah. You will be well fed. Don't worry.
It's not about the money. It's about the memory.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And try to come up with a bunch of one-liners throughout this whole thing.
We can make T-shirts out of them.
But I mean, shoot, we've been through all the the basic questionnaire.
Yeah.
We can really just shoot the shit now.
No doubt. What questions do you got?
I mean,
on the inside looking in and the outside looking in. What are some questions you might have about doing all this stuff?
Guess I think I got a good kind of base knowledge to work from just from talking to you over this episode.
Mm-hmm.
How about what does it look like in the next 5 years
for Caravan Film Crews? Okay, so I've got my bread and butter, which is weddings, corporate events, and for photography and film for both, and also model portraiture, photography and film in that. But and those are staples. Those aren't going anywhere. But I'd like to add in very carefully and very slowly theatrical film, and I'd like to add that into the kind of projects that we do because. And I don't ever want to stop doing those other things. All right, so there's Caravan Film Crews, the creative house, right? But then there's Caravan Film Crews, the corporation, the LLC, right?
Yeah.
And so there's plans I have for that, the LLC, which is continuing to do those staples and continuing to feed that, right? And then being able to build up the equipment so that the creative side can have a lot of fun doing those things.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, using basically the resources from both to create opportunities in the theatrical film space that are going to be very fruitful if successful, right?
Mhm.
Because with weddings and corporate events and all that stuff, they're cool. They can pay anywhere from $2,000 to 5, 7, 8, 10 grand a pop, right? And that's really good. But when you do a theatrical film, these things have a tendency to make, 3, 4, 500 grand, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, depending on how what studio picks it up, how it's distributed, what the feedback is of the moviegoers and people that like to watch and stuff like that. But one, I really love doing movies. Two, they're very lucrative, and so using the foundation of the staples that we deliver, wedding films and photography, corporate films and photography, model portraiture and whatnot, and scaling up the kind of equipment that we have to be able to deliver on the theatrical film side is basically the goal for the next 5 years in doing so. And man, if Bitcoin comes back up, man, we're going to be doing that a lot sooner than you think.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. Oh yeah, I was thinking of something else, but yeah, that's awesome. Though. It's just, all in due time.
All in due time. One of the things that we're going to be doing is here at Carol's Books, where we're at right now, in El Paso and Sacramento, they're going to be opening up this place as like an actor's playground.
Ooh, you're gonna be seeing me.
Yeah,
you're gonna be seeing me.
And so it's I think a small membership fee, like $2 or $5 or something like that.
Not saying I'm good at acting, but you're gonna be seeing
pretty good at acting. And there's a lot of really good actors in Sacramento too.
Yeah.
But being able to just walk in, if you're not doing anything, if you got nothing to do, you want to act, but you want to act with people. You want to have a space to act and whatnot. Sharon is going to be opening up the store for people to just walk in, grab some scripts, read through them, and then just decide, what roles they're going to play and start acting them out, and that's going to be really cool. We're doing a short film the end of this month, January 2019. There's going to be another short film sometime in the summer, and then I think in between that time is a feature-length film that we're shooting called My Shakespeare, which is about a film about why men cheat, which, it's pretty...
Got some stuff in the pipeline, folks.
You can read the script on Facebook, or if you DM me on Caravan Film Crews, I could send you the link to the script. There's not a problem.
Oh.
And I think we're doing auditions this month on the 19th.
Dope. Are you gonna be like with Wes? Are you guys gonna be filming or just getting kind of a?
So Wes, I'm shooting. So Wes W.A. Carter, who I call Wes, we call Wes, excellent screenplay writer,
so good.
Script writer.
So good.
Just generates really good stories.
Yeah.
We're shooting the first short film at the end of this month with him. He's already been casting and auditioning and rehearsing for the last 2-3 months. And so we got 2 weekends of production to do, and then that's it. We nail it all out.
Let me know.
Yeah. I got you,
bro.
man. I got you.
Let me know if you're missing out.
Yeah. And that one's called Atonement. That's a movie about a crooked cop who has a change of heart. And I'm not going to say any more on that, especially because it's a short film. You can't really give away too much. But there's that, and then the one that the audition is for on the 19th is with a guy named Franklin Cole. I call him Frank. Excellent writer. He's got 30 plus scripts. I think he's worked on 2 feature. I mean, he's worked on 8 feature-length movies in 3 years. Last 3 years. Phenomenal writer. Phenomenal. I mean,
see, I don't get how these salesman people are you can't you can't beat that.
Yeah,
when
I know.
you hear about that
I
compared
know.
to someone who try to sell you something.
Yeah, man. It's I don't know how they can do it, but when you hear about stuff like this and you hear about the kind of talent people got, both Wes and Frank, man, excellent writers. Excellent writers. You know, Frank, I remember at Lineworks, which we used to work at, marketing company we used to work at. At Lineworks, Frank, he came in to help with writing for a series that they were putting on. And one of the things he came out with was, or one of the concepts for the series was like a writer who wrote, he used to do films, but he ended up going into the advertising world and just making a lot more money writing ads. And then there's a sequence where they played some of the commercials that he wrote. And man, Frank, he came up with this idea for a commercial that was in a series, right? And the commercial went like this. It was like an opening shot of an astronaut like bouncing around the moon, right? And you can see Earth in the background, and then you hear like that Verizon ringtone for a text message or whatever, or like their ringtone or whatever. And the astronaut flips out his phone, and he just got a text message on the moon, right? And that's like an ad Verizon should actually do. You know what I mean? But oh man, he was just chock full of ideas, man. Just spitting them out like that all the time. And when I met him, he had 25 scripts written, and now he has 32. So he's always writing and stuff like that. And these guys, it's just awesome to work with these folks. And there's a whole team that we work with. A team we worked with for the 48-hour film festival, which we got first place at this past year.
Yes.
We're shooting with all of them on the production with Wes, Atonement. And man, it's awesome working with those kinds of people, like just people who just have a lot of fun. And then, all right, so after Atonement, then there's My Shakespeare, which we're still trying to nail down exactly what date we're going to be shooting that. But after that, there's another short called Children of the Sun, which Wes wrote. And there's another short called Capacity, which Wes also wrote. I haven't read Children of the Sun yet, but I read Capacity, and it's off the chain.
This year's going to be action-packed, yo.
Yeah. Well, all right, so look, Capacity is about an overweight guy who realizes he's fat. And he basically is like, he's on a quest to change his diet. And along the way, like a bunch of wild stuff happens. But it's really funny, but also kind of like, it's very relatable and touching and whatnot. It's definitely really relatable. Good. So that's what that is. That's and those are some of the productions we're doing this year. So yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
It's gonna be tight, man. So if you guys do any kind of thing related to theatrical film, wardrobe, makeup, you are a gun wrangler, you do whatever you do. Make sure you tap in on Facebook or Instagram. Shoot me a message. I'd love to see your work if you got examples of it too. But yeah. So you think the show's done?
I have 2 more questions.
Oh, let's go, man. Let's go. Okay. I got plenty of time for you, bro.
Just some stuff like let's see, like as just as you could recall, like what was like the most fun experience that you've had lately?
Yeah,
in the field.
Shooting?
Yeah.
Film or photography?
Either or, whichever one. It's at the top of the list right now.
The most fun.
Yeah.
Okay. The most fun I've had shooting lately was actually a pre-visual for the short Atonement. There's one scene in there where the cop and his partner, they're both dirty cops, they're like raiding what they think is a drug house, and they're doing it wearing their vests. They're detectives, right? And they're wearing their vests and they got their badges out, but they really just want to rob the place.
Yeah.
And so we shot the pre-visuals for that, and it was a ton of fun. We knocked it out in an hour and a half, when we actually shoot, so like what a pre-visual is where we just kind of see, you know, what it's kind of like a test shoot for the scene.
Yeah.
We do a really rough run through.
I love doing those.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Me and Jimmy, I do. It's all pre-visual stuff.
Remember we shot that pre-vis for that one scene, Frank it was called or whatever.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
which we got to shoot. We have to finish shooting that.
We're gonna get all back into it.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I had a ton of fun. It was just really low pressure. I didn't have to worry about lighting and audio and all this other stuff. I could just focus on blocking the actors.
I could just imagine like how fun it is. Like, okay, kicking the door.
Yeah,
you know,
it was like that. Yeah,
you got talk. Like, I think I saw a few like
it was on a story. Yeah,
you know, and Wes would just be getting on people, just hella funny too.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Oh man, hilarious. That dude's hella funny.
Oh my God.
All the guys that were there were so funny. We were cracking up the whole time. One of the guys, Stefan, what's his name, man? I forgot his last name. He's a comedian here in Sacramento. Super funny, man. Everybody was just, I mean, we were rolling the whole way.
Yeah.
You know, in between takes and all that. But we got it done. Wes is gonna edit it, just like a really rough edit, just to see what it's like, you know. But yeah, that was the most fun I had on a film shoot in a while. And you know, it was like handheld. Yeah, with like a 12 to 35 lens on there. We were shooting in 1080. You know, I bumped the ISO crazy just so we could see what's going on. You know,
you need an outline. You need blueprints. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
Shoot, oh man, yeah, I gotta get in on.
Oh man, that's good.
Shoot,
you already know. You should write something. That's what you should do.
Yeah, me and Jimmy, I need to start like how you guys are doing previs, is like just doing our own, just getting used to being in front of the camera. Yeah. And then, you know, delivering.
Yeah.
You know.
Man, you know, I work with a lot of first-time actors, first-time models.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody has to start somewhere, you know, but there are some filmmakers, photographers, or actors, or models who, you know, think working with first-time folks is like some kind of bad thing or whatever. And to me, you know, it just takes people getting comfortable in that setting, in that environment, understanding how it goes and stuff like that. And shoot, man, you know, Denzel was a first-time actor at one point. Will Smith was a first-time actor. Will Smith never acted before until the day of Fresh Prince, the first filming that they did for the first episode.
Wow,
you know
I
what I mean?
know that.
They just put together a whole series just based on him and his personality. You know what I mean? But that's how he got into acting. And, you know, so like, you know, who am I to say, you know, who's whatever, right? It's not up to me. It's just, that's just, you know, that's how I look at it. Like, I'd love to work with anybody, you know? So yeah, just get comfortable in front of the camera and just do as much as you can do. Yeah. You know?
All right. Okay. One more.
Go ahead.
I guess the ladies should recall, what was the most challenging like thing that you've had to overcome recently?
Most challenging thing?
Yeah.
Like
or just something
a memory card?
You know.
No, I'm just playing. I didn't.
That's happened before though. That's always a challenge for me.
One time I got a call from Jimmy. He was shooting a wedding like 3 hours away near Yosemite.
Oh.
And he called me and he's like, dude, where's the memory cards? He can't find them. And my heart was like, I just wanted to slit my throat right there. And
did he just say
no, but he couldn't find it. But he eventually found it. It was in the bag, you know. But yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine what that feel like.
Oh, dude, it was like the worst, man. It was the worst. But yeah, in terms of a challenge I had to overcome lately, man, I can't recall like something that was like the most challenging. Yeah. But you know, filmmaking, even shooting photography is all about problem solving. You know, there's always some kind of problem. You know, you got out there, the sun wasn't quite what you thought it was going to be. You know, or there are clouds now, there's never clouds. You know, or you know, you thought that you had enough room to squeeze in this light and softbox and everything, or the person who was doing audio that day canceled. Now you got to figure out how you're going to do audio and without anybody holding a boom or anything like that. So there's always there's always problems. Always. Just like jiu-jitsu, just like BJJ, it's problem solving continuously. Same thing with filmmaking and photography.
Yeah. It's always a challenge.
It's always a challenge. Yeah. Every single time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't really pinpoint, lately, an actual problem. But yeah, that's how it is, man.
All right.
But if you get through enough of those problems,
Yeah.
If you've had experience with them, now you know what to do.
It's just like boxing,
Yeah,
In
exactly.
the beginning, you're gonna be terrible. You're not gonna have any wind. You're not gonna
You gotta get lit up, all crazy.
Get lit up, But a few weeks pass, a few months pass, and you start to see where the punches are coming from. You start to see where you can move. You start to see where, you could get in the game.
Yeah.
So.
Man.
Yeah.
All right,
I guess you want to end on that note.
Yeah, I guess we could end on that note.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout. We're probably gonna drop these once a week, maybe.
It's more on the way. I am down.
Yeah.
What am I doing besides crypto? You feel me?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Getting
we should do a
Bitcoin
crypto
flips.
podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
coming. It's
Yeah.
coming. It's down the pipeline. Make sure you follow us, Caravan Film Crews on Instagram, Slummy Luciano.
Yes.
On
you can follow me
Instagram.
on Instagram too.
Yeah. Facebook, Ted Labissiere, or Caravan Film Crews. You find me through there. And yeah, this is also going to be on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like it, and leave a comment. And talk mess, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in Sacramento, bro. I'm in Sac. It's good. You know what I mean? You can say it to my face if you want to, bro. You know what I mean? But go ahead, talk that mess down there in the comments. We might get into a little back and forth. I like that. I have fun. But and if you are interested in working with us in any capacity, please do not hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions about film, photography, the business side, modeling, acting, whatever,
Talk to him, not me.
but you can always talk to us.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
can
all
talk to
good.
me, but if you want to talk about that, talk to him.
Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. All right. But thanks for sticking around this long. And if you skipped ahead so you didn't have to go through all the stuff, still thanks.
Yeah.